And I tell you what, the fixtures that are looming large after the international break are quite extraordinary. Arsenal, of course, in the Premier League, Aston Villa in the Premier League, Crystal Palace, and then Real Madrid, Luton Town, Real Madrid, and then an FA Cup semi-final. Of course, the draw will be after the games between Liverpool and Manchester United and Chelsea and Leicester. But the Blues have booked their place in the last four of the FA Cup once again. A comfortable victory, 2 Bernardo Silva goals, and to be honest, Newcastle in the second half barely laid a glove on them. Final score, City 2, Newcastle 0. Well, let's go back to the studio, where we are joined by David James, Paul Dickoff and Kel.
Welcome back to Matchday Live with me, Kel Spellman, full time here at the Etihad Stadium, and Manchester City fans get excited because we're off back to the Etihad South. A 2-0 win over Newcastle in our FA Cup quarter-final game does mean another semi-final awaits, and that also means history made once again by the boys in blue, being the first team in FA Cup history to reach 6 consecutive semi-finals in the competition. Paul, that really is no small feat, given we were speaking at the start of the show how old and how historic and magical this competition is.
Yeah, it is, but look, they're breaking records again, aren't they? I think credit goes to Pep and goes to his staff, you know, because they always pick strong teams. You know, a lot of the times, even not so much this year, but in previous seasons, clubs have prioritised, and FA Cups maybe came at the bottom of it, whether they've been fighting relegation or going for Champions League, and not really treated the respect that it deserves. But one thing Pep's always done since he's been here is treat the FA Cup with huge respect, and as he should. Absolutely,
and you could see that in the performance today, David. It felt like a very mature, a very well-rounded performance. I mean, I don't want to say, you know, be digging out Newcastle, don't think they were at the best, but it felt like we were so assured and didn't really have to get out of third gear.
No, I mean, the damage was done in the first half, wasn't it? Yeah. First of all, the early goal, the second goal after, what, half an hour, 31 minutes, whatever. Again, Newcastle's system not quite working, Doku being a constant threat. It wasn't going to be easy, and I think if anything, they'll be happy with the second half. I know it was 0-0, and they didn't really have enough to fully chase it. But from Newcastle's perspective, they made it a tie. Yep. What I do like is just seeing them applauding their travelling fans. There's a lot of fans come down from Newcastle. Yeah. Fortunately, the one that FG was talking to before the game didn't get his 1-0 wish. But likewise, you know, you see Carl Walker, Phil Foden's chucked his shirt into the crowd, and I think, like you said, making history, 6th FA Cup semi-final in a row. But more importantly, a group of City players who went out there to win this game properly and won it properly.
They did indeed. Well, listen, let's take a slight pause in the show. Let's go to Pitchside now, live with FG. He's joined by Steve Howie.
Manchester City are on their way to Wembley. Manchester City 2, Newcastle United 0. The Manchester weather's here. It's a blessing, they say, the rain, and that was a comfortable performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the perfect word. It was comfortable. I think Newcastle, they had that shot from Isak the first half, but apart from that, didn't really lay a glove on City. In the second half, it was kind of a keep ball session, you know, but a keep ball session at the training ground rather than, you know, an FA Cup quarter-final. So, Man City be pleased with it. I think the Newcastle manager and the Newcastle fans will be disappointed with their performance, but City's through the next round.
Through to the next round, indeed. Let's have a quick word on the goals real quick from Bernardo Silva. 2 deflected efforts. From a Newcastle point of view, there's not really much you can do about it when the ball deflects off your defenders and it goes the opposite direction of the goalkeeper. It's a tad unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the goalkeeper can't do anything for the first one. Dan Burn kind of sticks his line out. Could he maybe close him down? I think you could look at that. But the other one, it's a difficult one because as a defender, when the ball, you know the ball's going to be on target, you know, the easy thing would be just to leave it and let the goalkeeper gather it or save it. But I think it's instinct as a defender to try and get something on it. And obviously, Botman does, and it goes past the goalkeeper. So, 2 poor goals for Newcastle can see, but City will take them all day. So, you know, they'll be happy with that. Look, you're in the semi-finals.
In the semi-finals, as the holders of the FA Cup, as we see the players behind, doing a lap of honour, still in the weather. The rain doesn't affect this team, does it?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, when you're a player, in all fairness, when you're playing in this weather, it's great. It's just the fans, really, that are getting absolutely soaked, and the players can go and get a nice hot shower and put the dry clothes on.
I don't think the fans will mind because Manchester City are off to Wembley. Well done, by the way, on co-cams. You were absolutely brilliant, and thank you for joining us, as always, on Matchday Live. Let's head back to a studio which is a lot drier than we are.
It is indeed, but we wouldn't be in Manchester if it wasn't for the Manchester rain. FG, thank you so much to Steve Howie. Thank you as well to Alistair Mann as well, who covered us on commentary, as always, expertly. Paul, the second half, no goals. It kind of, as David said, the damage was kind of done, but we still had to see it through, and I thought there were some great performances. Any key individual performances you liked?
I just thought it was a good team performance. Obviously, you've got Bernardo Silva, deflected or not, he's got his 2 goals. I thought Kovacic again was really good. Phil had some great touches. Doku at times a real threat. So, but everybody, I was comfortable in the end though. You know, I agree with Steve a little bit there that the last sort of 10-15 minutes it became a bit of kickball. You know, Newcastle were happy getting back in their shape without really pressing. City were just happy to say come on and keep the ball. So yeah, great win. Cup competition is all about winning regardless of how you play and getting into the next round. City fans back at Wembley, so great. And the biggest cheer of the day was from JMO and here when Oscar Bob came on.
Yeah. Did you like his little cameo?
Yeah. No, it's sweet.
Also, I mean, we should mention as well, another clean sheet for Stefan Ortega.
I'm just thinking then, as my Luton Town colours were coming through, thinking we're still the only team to have actually scored in open play against Stefan Ortega.
Oh, there we go.
He's only conceded 3 and one of them was a pen.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. Great performance, loses 6-2.
We of course as well.
Well done.
It's exciting. Now, obviously, we know the draw's going to take place tomorrow after tomorrow's games. We know that Coventry are already through, but we know now as well, I mean, 2 games to try and win the competition. But really, it's not going to be easy given the manner of teams as well playing tomorrow, Paul.
No, it's not. Obviously, a big game over the road. Bigger game for me is Leicester-Chelsea. Obviously, want the Foxes to do well. But yeah, look, semi-final competition, there's going to be a tough game. There's going to be no easy games. Everybody will probably say, not being disrespectful, that they'd like to have Coventry there, but Coventry showed today that deservedly so they went and beat a Premier League team away from home. So it's going to be exciting regardless of who we get. Yeah,
it really, really is. So we know the international break is next. Firstly, on that, I wanted to ask, I think Rodri was speaking about it after the Anfield game, saying that it feels like it's kind of come at a nice time. We've kind of done the business now against Newcastle, and actually a week rest feels it's going to be good for this group of players. And then coming back to, as Alistair Mann said in commentary, very, very important and busy fixture list.
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult one, and I've been talking about it recently with people, is the representing your country and how every game is important if you get the opportunity to represent your country. Mm-hmm. But for some players, representing your country, especially in friendlies, shouldn't be the focus, if that makes sense, especially when you're coming back 2 massive games for your club. And it's not the club versus country thing, it's just that a friendly for Spain, for England, Rodri is not going to get selected for the finals based on what he does in any friendlies.
Yeah.
So therefore for him, this should be an opportunity for rest, to be able to go into those big games full of energy. Continue, was it 86 games now, or 87?
Rodri, I keep losing count.
It's
80-something, isn't it? Games,
frightening, man. And also as well, I mean, probably good as well. We know Kev he said he's been all right, but just a slight little niggle. Jack obviously coming back from an injury, so you'd like to think with this week off as well, Paul, we'll get that full squad, which, as you alluded to at the start of the show, is so important if we want to compete on all 3 fronts.
There is. You just open the international breaks, there's a little bit of common sense, and David's absolutely bang on. These 2 friendly games aren't going to determine whether Rodri's going to go play for Spain or whether Akanji for Switzerland, or all the players that are going to be going. You'd like to think or like to hope that the national team managers are maybe using these games to look at people that can possibly step in for these players over the next 2 games, and hopefully they don't get too many minutes.
Absolutely. Let's look then, when we do come back, Arsenal. Huge game. I mean, for me, a must-win here at the Etihad.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just, again, curious. We were talking about it, watching that first half, and there's 3 games in a row now, I think, where City played more direct. Well, at least the Luton game for sure. I say a lot of direct football. Liverpool game, yes, 3 games right. Direct football, and whether or not that's a tactic that Pep is looking to take into the game against Arsenal, which I felt last season was the difference between the 2 teams. On the flip side, then you've got Arteta thinking, hang on, I've seen this in 3 previous games. Is that the way they're going to play it? And then it makes a shift. Whatever it is, they have to win. And again, going back to how crucial this international break is for the club, is that the players that they need are given the right amount of minutes, if any minutes, in order to be sharp 100% for that game against Arsenal.
Obviously, a former club of yours, Paul, and I think, I mean, I'd say at the moment, given their goal-scoring form that they're in, the football they're playing is unbelievable, and they feel more mature, and they feel they've almost taken that next step, particularly with signings compared to last season. I do feel they're going to be a different prospect this season.
Yeah, they are, but you know, I think we were 7 points behind them this time last year. I know we had a game in hand. And we still managed.
And they had more clean sheets this time last year.
And that was coming here, so that was a massive game last season. In a couple of weeks' time, it's going to be a huge game as well. You know, I think you're right. I think they have taken it on to a different level slightly. I think Declan Rice has been a huge factor in that. I think his experience, how he plays the game. I think Jorginho coming in and letting Declan play further forward has helped him, as in creating more things as well. But I still can't see them coming here and winning. I just think these big games, you know, City proved it last year, when it really matters coming to the end. They produce the big players. Hopefully Kevin's going to be fit, as you said. Firing Jack Grealish, Phil's in the form of his life at the minute, Erling. You know, so it's going to be a great game, but you know, I'm always confident, mate.
Yeah, no, I love that. Listen, as am I, Paul. Well, I'm with you, I am anyway. And I just wondered, obviously we've got the international break now, a week off, but for Arsenal it'll be 2.5 weeks, because obviously they've not played. So I don't know, is this something else? Is that a bit too long, maybe, or?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing with sports science, the way that it's sort of implemented now, players will get those minutes in. It's just I don't want to sound like the guy who says you can't practice penalties for a major tournament. You can practice everything within reason. It's just actually going out there and playing legitimate competitive games.
I think that regardless of the amount of minutes they get or anything else, the size and the magnitude of this game takes care of itself. Yeah.
It does. They're aware, and as you said, haven't been here.
Whether they're 2.5 weeks off, a week off, or they played on the Wednesday before the game and the Sunday, I think the size of the game and both teams probably wanting to win, having to win, takes care of itself.
It does indeed. Well, it's a very, very exciting proposition. So we've got a little week off, and then Matchday Live will be bringing you that game. Now, before we reveal the mystery blue, in the interim, while we're on the international break, if you're here in the UK and you can get up to Manchester, we've got a big game here next weekend. Our women's team are in action in the Manchester derby, and it's all very tight in the WSL. It is set to be an unbelievable game, and we want this Etihad full, so please do go online and get your tickets if you can come down. I'm going to be with you as well. We're going to be pitchside, and now before the game, it's going to be a cracking show and a cracking game for sure. So if you can come down and support our women's team, we want this Etihad rocking. Right, mystery blue then. You've had 3 clues throughout our shows. Let's quickly have a quick recap of what they were. There they are. This player scored in the Premier League for 7 different teams, including both sides today. This player was well known for his fiery temper, and he's not Mr. Paul Dickoff. This man is now assistant coach to another Man City legend. Paul, you were super quick with this. Can you reveal who is our mystery blue?
I was winding you up, I didn't know who it is. No. It's a certain Craig Bellamy.
It is indeed. There we go. We had Tam get in touch on WhatsApp. Sir JM, he got in touch on WhatsApp. You were correct. And Akil as well. Congratulations with those correct guesses on our mystery blue. And just a final little bit of housekeeping from myself as well. Do you want to win a Julian Alvarez signed shirt? It's all in aid of a new documentary that's gone on City Studios. Well, go to mancity.com/Alvarez shirt, and then we'll reveal the winner of that competition in the Arsenal game as well. So make sure you come join us for that. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you, David.
Thank you,
Paul. And thank you to all of you brilliant City fans around the world for watching. So there we have it. We're off back to Wembley. We're in the semi-final of the FA Cup. And dare I say it, the hunt for 3 trophies goes on. Have a lovely evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And hopefully, I'll be seeing you at our women's derby. Take care.
If we win the treble, what are you going to do with that? Surely you've got to go Netflix.
There is one treble. Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup.
Together, guys. Do it together.
This documentary is going to be the best ever.
Now we're talking.
She doesn't know her dad's Jack Grealish.
This is what the people have to realize, that today I'm the king.
You're right, Gunda. You need to wrestle.
Just another day at the office.
Absolutely brilliant from City.
We won the last match Premier League. Are we going to do it again?
I mean, are they unstoppable this season?
It's tough, the Premier League. It's unforgiving. You have to work and fight for every single point you get.
It's so easy to look far ahead. And that's the one thing that can get you killed.
Are City title contenders once again? The questions were starting to be raised.
Manchester City's lead has been obliterated.
We want to win this Premier League. We have to play it like this.
You think it's normal? Today we are done. For the guys who travel to follow us to perform in this way? Wow.
They're in a proper title race here.
If we focus on ourselves, we can beat them all. And we want to do it again. And that's when we get big.
I think we can go all the way.
I want my Warriors.
If you come for the king, you best not miss.
The biggest prize in club football is still the Champions League.
That was a little bit special.
He's got to turn Man City into a team that conquers Europe. That has to happen.
We're all going to Istanbul! One more next week.
You know, tomorrow we play for the immortality.
Will it be a treble or a seismic shock? It's once in a lifetime, guys. This situation, we are not going to leave it again.